beat the Broncos yesterday, but are they perfect? Not necessarily because of what happened yesterday. The Broncos basically lined up to kick a game-winning field goal, okay? And wouldn't you know, it's blocked, and then Kansas City goes on to win. They now have won 15 straight, as Dan said, dating back to last season. Kansas City is undefeated, but has been the tightest 9-0 start pretty much in NFL history. There are 32 teams all time to have a 9-0 start to a season. Their point differential of plus 58, lowest of those 32 instances. And so 7 of their 9 wins have been against one-score teams. Okay, all this, we have eyeballs. The Chiefs have not been dominant, that is for certain. So Shannon, I'll go to you first. Yesterday, when the Chiefs beat the Broncos, did that make you view them better or worse?
The same, because I just think Patrick Mahomes, at some point in time, he's had enough. His resume has shown that he can turn it on, and I'm expecting him to do that. I don't expect him. Dio, he's missing throws. He had Kelsey late in the game at the back of the end zone, and he overshoots him by 15 feet. That's not Patrick Mahomes. He has a Kareem Hunt wide open in the flat, and he hits him in his feet. He's missing throws that Patrick Mahomes has never missed, and it's causing them to come off the field on third down and not stay on the field. You know, as an offense, the more times you pick up third down, the greater your chances are of getting in the drive and scoring. And right now, that's what's hurting them. Patrick Mahomes scoring 16 points at home. Patrick Mahomes struggling, barely has 3 or 4 more touchdowns than interceptions. At this juncture of the season, we're used to seeing Patrick Mahomes end the season, mid-30s, 40s, or even 50 touchdowns, minimal interceptions. But that's not what this offense is. This is a defensive-led football team by his also with a historically great quarterback. But to sit here and say, oh, I have no concerns, Patrick, you know this. You're treading on thin water, thin ice here. We're going to find out a lot about them. Now, if they go to Buffalo and they beat Buffalo playing like they're playing offensively, then I'm going to have to say, you know what, Dio? Other than Buffalo and Baltimore, and they would have beaten both teams, I just don't see them losing.
Okay, so this is where I'm like so confused about Kansas City. I have one concern about Kansas City. It's their left tackle. That's it. The left tackle is an issue. But I think a Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame quarterback will cover that up because they kind of did it last year. And we're talking about Kansas City's offense like we don't know who they are. Of course this is a defensive-led football team. It has been for 2 years. This is the most efficient offense in football. They're not trying to be the Tyreek Hill offense. They're not. They can't because of the left tackle. They don't need to be because their defense is so good. You have to be so good against their defense. They had 4 more drives yesterday. Shannon, you know this. They had 4 drives yesterday that went for over 10 plays or more. That's 26 on the season. That's by far the most in the NFL. They're not trying to be explosive. They don't have the people to be explosive. They're playing exactly the way that they have to play. Do you know how, Shannon, you know how hard it is to beat a team that, one, when they're on offense, is going to be unbelievably efficient, that they're going to control the football. They have the football more than anybody in the NFL. And then you're going against the defense that is so good. McDuffie got beat 3 or 4 times yesterday by Sutton. Not many dudes are beating McDuffie. Sutton had a game. That's not going to happen consistently. Denver's a really good defense. Denver is a playoff contending football team. Denver always plays Patrick and the Chiefs tough. So I'm not over. Also, let's be real. They knew they were blocking that kick. They knew they were going to block that kick. If you watched how they were rushing in those PATs and field goals, the 4th time they did it the same exact way over the same exact guy. They knew they were blocking that kick. This is a very good football team.
Okay, all right. First of all, I would say you need to be tested because you sound off your rocker. But you're too knowledgeable about football, which means this is your emotions getting into play. Anytime we're questioning something, we question something about Kansas City.
I'm not even emotional.
Yeah. It's you. Trust me, you are, okay? Yeah. First of all, anytime you're questioning something about a team, right? Here's how you know, Shannon, D.O. is getting a bit sensitive. The sensitivity heightened. Because ultimately, when you talk about Kansas City and there's a question mark, you talk about quarterback. And God forbid we talk about quarterback. God forbid we talk about a quarterback. D.O. might lose his mind. Because, you talk about a fraternity that's protected. That brother, D.O. will protect the quarterback. Here's the deal. We understand that the Kansas City Chiefs could win the Super Bowl. That's not what we're saying. We're talking about them not looking as formidable as we're accustomed to seeing them look. And as a result, who legitimately has a shot. Since week 9 of 2022, the Detroit Lions are 28-8. It's the second best record in football. Number 1 is the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 29-7 over that same period of time.
Okay.
The Kansas City Chiefs have won 15 straight games.
Okay.
12 have been by 1 score. 12! So I'm looking at a team that's winning by 1 score, but I'm looking at a team in the NFC who looks so formidable that they could possibly take you. Let's go to watch yesterday's game, the victory against the Denver Broncos. Patrick Mahomes was pressured on 41% of his dropbacks,
Right.
okay?
Denver's defensive line is awesome.
Fine. During that situation, he completed 36% of his passes compared to 82 in a clean pocket. Here's what I'm saying to you. When we saw the Kansas City Chiefs lose the Super Bowl, we thought they would win against Tampa Bay. What happened? Patrick Mahomes was running for his damn life because he wasn't being protected. So what I'm saying to you is this. If you look at a team and they're applying pressure and Patrick Mahomes looks, I'm not saying rattled or anything like that, he's the greatest. What I'm saying to you is that if he isn't as efficient as we're accustomed to seeing him be, and it has something to do with pressure, and then we're asking ourselves about Detroit's ability to pressure him, that's why you went out and got Zadarius Smith, because you lost Hutchinson, and you certainly don't replace Hutchinson, but you want to be able to apply more pressure. I'm just saying, it is not beyond the realm of comprehension to look at 1-score victories, a vast majority of them being the case for Kansas City, and saying to ourselves, damn, I mean, you'd have to play pretty damn good to beat them because they are great. But it is plausible. It is possible. I mean, it is not beyond the realm of comprehension that they can be had.
Dio.
That's what we're talking about.
Houston Texans, when you get 5 turnovers and you end the possession with kicking field goals, what happens to you in the end? See, that's the problem. Patrick Mahomes not nearly enough of those drives. And we hear he talk about it. We hear Andy Reid. We hear Travis Kelce. We've got to finish these drives with touchdowns. That is what's concerning with me, because you get into a tight ball game, and you know that's the thing that we love about football. It's an oblong-shaped object, and it can bounce anyway. And so that's what's my concerning thing, is that normally when they got the ball into the red zone the previous 3 to 4 years, not last year notwithstanding, they culminated with touchdowns. Now all of a sudden it's field goals. Sometimes Patrick is even turning the football over. That is my concern, and I don't think I'm off my rocker, or it's out of the realm of possibility to say, okay, that might bite them in the end.
Okay, so that's where Hop matters. Ever since Hop going into yesterday, it was 7 out of 8 resulted in touchdowns. I think yesterday there were like 1 of 3. One of those drives was a penalty. Here's my thing. What Kansas City Chiefs version was more vulnerable? Last year's or this year's?
I think this year. Well,
it's not even
close. I was getting ready to say, I think this year, but it clearly was last year, because last year you didn't have D-Hop and you didn't have Tyreek Hill either.
And they weren't nearly as good on offense. Right. Last year they were a bad offensive football team. This year they're just playing to a different style. My second thing is
they were bad last year because they led the league in drop passes
and penalties.
44. They led but the big thing was the drop passes.
And they had
cats dropping, but they were open and dropping passes. You understand? That was the problem.
Okay. And penalties. They were a bad offensive football team last year. They are such an improved football team this year. Second of all, what defensive line that they're going to see in the playoffs in the AFC is going to be like Denver's?
I don't know.
Only Denver's.
I don't know, but it doesn't matter because I was talking about Detroit.
Well, yes. Can Detroit? I mean, the two things could be true. Detroit is the best team in football. They're the most dominant team in football. If they play today in the Super Bowl, I bet every single penny I have, you would take Kansas City.
Really? Dio.
Guaranteed.
We got to get out here in about 10 seconds. Dio, we got to get out here in 10 seconds.
You would not. You would not, dude.
Yeah, I would.
Dio.
Yes, I would.
Who do you,
yes, I would.
Which Patrick Mahomes is playing better? Last year Patrick Mahomes or this year's Patrick Mahomes?
This year, and it's not even close.
Is playing better?
This year, and it's not even close.
Okay, we got
Man, you out your mind.